Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to NOLA Theater Talk. My name is Alan Smason, and glad to have you out there. We broadcast on the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, my own YouTube channel. And again, we'll see this. If any of you want to chime in tonight, we recommend you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. That's StreamYard.com/Facebook to try to get your comments put in with your name, etc. If not, Facebook has a bad habit about putting it as a Facebook user instead of allowing your name to show up because of privacy. So we'll leave it at that. Meanwhile, we're talking, as you can probably see, you've got the little logo up above me, Summer Lyric Theater at Tulane. Welcome to the show. First of all, the newly announced permanent artistic director, C. Leonard Raybon. Welcome to the show. And again, you'd been interim for the last year or so. Was it 2 years or three?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, at least I know that we're we're on the ball now, making sure that so again, you had taken over, and we'll go over a little bit of the history later on. It's officially your domain at Summer Lyric at Tulane, and I'm just delighted for you. Many recognize you as the guy who comes out and takes the baton and leads the orchestra, but you actually are part of the music department there for many years, correct?
That's right. Yes, I've been next year will be 25 years I've been in the department as Summer Lyric Theater conductor, as well as a voice teacher and choral conductor.
And you actually have been on stage in a couple of productions, right? You actually were a featured performer as well, so you know well the ins and outs of Summer Lyric Theater.
I think I do. By now, I think, at least I hope so.
Well, anyway, we're very glad to have you again on the show. And also tonight, one of my favorite people in theater, and she knows that we are actually members of the Mutual Admiration Society. And I'm going to bring her in as well. That's Jauné Buisson. Jauné, again, it's certainly wonderful to have you as well. And we're going to talk about your part. You're going to be kicking off the season, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so again, we have what I call the 3 C's. Every one of your shows this year starts with the letter C. Was that designed intentionally, or was it just happenstance?
Well, I knew I wanted to do company, and then we floated the idea of and also carousel, and so there were already 2 C's, and I thought, well, you got to have a gimmick, and so I just kind of went with it. And then there was Jauné, and there was a chorus line.
All right. So again, you just announced it, but there it is, a chorus line kicking off the season June 19th through the 22nd, and led by the lovely and talented Jauné Buisson. Yes, there she is. Now, Jauné, recently you were involved in a production of Jersey Boys, and you were also recently, I guess it was last January, wasn't it? You did Beautiful at Le Petit as well, right? But you have made your bones, as it were, at Summer Lyric. I mean, you have been at Summer Lyric for a bit, and really established your career there. So tell me, when was the first Summer Lyric show that you did?
2001.
Wow.
2001.
Wow.
Follies.
I can't believe that. That's amazing.
I was the little one on the end.
Wow.
Hat cross.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, again, you're going to be directing. We know that you're a capable director, and you're going to be choreographing, which you all wonderful in that regard too. So knowing that this is a chorus line, knowing it was the big winner back in 1975, and it beat out Chicago. I mean, for a Tony Award at that time, I mean, it was all the rage. How is this chorus line going to be different? Are you going to plan on doing some other things with it this time that you're envisioning different from the way it was originally done back in 1975, or no?
Well, the movement in the show is iconic. It's all storytelling through choreography. So every gesture, every line, it's a dancer's dream, and it's a huge athletic challenge. So without a doubt, we are paying homage to Michael Bennett's iconic choreography. But there's some opportunities for me to really showcase the talents of our company and what they can do, and to put a fresh new spin on it. And
I do want to make sure that we we talk a little bit about the cast and all that. I was fortunate to be able to get all the names of the people who were involved in the cast, and that's in one of the emails that was sent to me a little bit earlier today. But were you looking for a specific type? Did you have the ability to work with the cast and determine who was going to be what roles, et cetera? Because that's a big cast you've got there.
Oh my gosh, at its core, it's a show about putting your whole heart on the line. So when you had dancers in front of you, there's absolutely no faking it. They have to have lived it. So you need dancers that dance and that have that grit and resilience inside of them. Because we look at them and we go, oh, Connie's cute. No, she's a survivor, okay? Oh, Cassie's a star. No, she's not. She's just trying to start over and claim like her place in the universe. So without a doubt, we had some incredible auditions. Gary Mesa just brought the room to tears when he got to work on Paul's monologue in front of us. Donovan Davis, I think y'all are going to be blown away by his vocal chops and prowess, in addition to his dancing. We all know him as a great celebrated dancer, but Leonard was kind enough to really sit down and help us discover the Richie inside of him. So I think local audiences will be delighted by the amount of local talent and favorites like Leslie Cavalry. She's stepping in for that's just like the absolute best. And then we have some out-of-town talent, some young out-of-town fresh legs that'll be kicking it up there. That it was very competitive, a very dense talent pool, and absolutely, you know, what we needed rose to the top.
And let me just ask the music, of course. Leonard, are you going to be conducting that particular one, or do we know yet?
No, I'm not. Last year, well, when I was a young little boy starting in this, I would do all 3 shows every summer with Michael Howard. And last summer, I did all 3 shows. And especially when I'm also wearing the hat of artistic, at least at that time, interim artistic director, it was too much. So I'm only going to conduct and musical direct Carousel this time.
Okay. All right. Well, that is fair. All right. So as you know, it's a tradition. We started this show back in the pandemic when all the shows were shuttered. No theaters were open. So I always said, you know what? We all need to have a drink to get through it. And I was telling Jauné, I'm going to surprise everybody tonight with my drink, because for the first time that I've had the show, I think it's non-alcoholic. It's actually very special because this is leftover. I just opened the bottle tonight. This is Coca-Cola, but the Coca-Cola with the yellow top, only available right before Passover. It's got real sugar in it. So some people call it Mexico Coke because they really make it Mexico with real cane sugar. Yeah. So cheers to you. This is my first time drinking something non-alcoholic on the show.
Cheers to you.
I hope you got a drink with me, huh? You have a drink?
I don't. So I'm sorry, but I celebrate you and your Mexican Coke.
Well, you know, in every case that somebody hasn't brought a drinking, you know what happens? They get kicked out of the show.
Oh, no.
So I guess I'll talk to Jauné for the time being. Go grab something so you can commiserate with us, all right, or celebrate with us. Jauné, what did you bring in?
I have a mocha coconut latte. I was going to have a tequila beverage like last time on the pandemic, but I'm doing it from school and I wasn't able to get home in time, so I had to switch to something.
I know. Very, very good. Leonard's going to get himself a drink. So let's talk a little bit about Chorus Line again. Chorus Line, of course, a major coup on Broadway. I would say it's one of the more iconic shows, you know, in terms of bringing ensembles out. I mean, really, a lot of the shows that came out that have really been earth-shaking, you know, aside from the Roger and Hammerstein, you know, bit that we talk about with Oklahoma and things of that sort. You know, I have to go back. I harken back to A Chorus Line, Rent, and of course, Les Miserables in there as well. You know, all ensemble pieces, etc. And then, in more or less in recent times, maybe we might also think about Hamilton as well. You know, in terms of those shows having really had a major effect. Hair probably would also be one of those, but Chorus Line is right up there with those. And not one particular star leading the pack, so to speak. It's just an ensemble piece. So and I think
But I think I know why in your world those are also earth shattering, and I agree with your placement there. They're raw, they're honest. That's why they hit so hard for generations to come, and they also share like their own unique movement vocabulary. Like you watch any part of Hair and you go, oh, that's Twyla. Do you know what I mean? You watch Coruscant, you go, oh, that's Bennett. You know what I mean? So all those shows, even Les Mis, we got the triangle and the flag. They all had their own unique movement vocabulary. So in addition to the score visually, it sets them apart from like, you know, their predecessors and, you know, the other shows that were playing opposite them.
And Leonard, were you trying? I know you got a drink now, so but and you showed up in a second. But were you trying to intentionally bring Chorus Line in because of its importance to theater? I don't know how often you've done it at Summer Lyric. Have you done it before?
Yes, in fact, we did it. It hasn't been terribly long, maybe 11 or 12 years ago. I'm not sure.
Trying to remember.
10 years ago. 10
okay.
years ago.
I don't know why I don't remember that, but for some reason, but I probably saw it. I mean,
you probably did.
I probably did. It's just, you know, I can't remember. I see a lot of theater, you know, and
oh, you do.
Yeah.
And
so
Jauné was starring in that one as well.
Oh, okay. I probably saw it. But you know, it's just not one of those things that a lot of people. I know JPAS did it some years ago as well. It's just not that easy to pull off because it's got a lot of moving parts. I mean, you know, it's not a simple kind of thing where you can just sit back and of course the nice thing about it is that everybody who's in it has their own story to tell, so it sort of rotates in terms of and then finally at the end they all come together. But it's a great show, so I'm delighted you're doing that. And so now you can make the reveal. What is it you got?
Oh, we have Maine Root beer. It's a really great brand of root beer.
All right.
And I poured it in a mid-century modern glass.
Very nice. So Jauné, we've got you on now. A couple other pieces aside from you coming up after a Chorus Line. The lovely Leslie Castay, who could not be with us tonight. She's busy with some other things she's doing. We appreciate that, but she is going to be directing Company, correct? July the 10th through the 13th. Now, I didn't find out. I'm just going to guess, since you've got the image of a man there in the diamond, that it's not going to be Bobby with a BBOIE, right? It's going to be Bobby with a Y.
One of the lamentable things about doing regional or even local theater is that when they do something amazing on Broadway, they almost never let pass down the rights to do, you know, the new concepts. The same is true of no, I guess that's okay, but certainly this show, that's not even an option. And,
right.
Yeah.
So, but Katrina Lenk was very good. I just thought they were reaching a little bit. But you know, some of the parts. I think one of the players there got a Tony Award for his work. So again, it was exemplary work and sort of, you know, a new way to look at it. But I think some of the purists they love Sondheim, and there's nothing else to say about that. And I think how well have you worked with Caitlin before? Caitlin,
I have not. No, it was she was Leslie's. She's worked with Leslie, and she was Leslie's recommendation. Because you know, when I have a director, you know, all things being equal, I say, well, who would you like to work with? And she mentioned Caitlin, and then we called her and we, you know, talked about it, and now she's on board.
Well, that's fantastic. Go ahead, Jauné. What's that?
She's on the with Leslie, and she was a great collaborator during auditions.
So that's Company, and again, a very fast moving show, and that's gonna. Did you say you're not gonna do this conducting as well, right? You're only gonna save it.
I'm not. No.
So who's doing that conducting?
You know, we just got somebody on board that I'm so excited about. His name is Jose Simbulan, and he also is on the faculty at NOCA, but he has a vast amount of experience, New York and other places. He's really connected in the musical theater community, and I met him, and I just like him immensely. And I just kind of like made him do a cold read of some Sondheim, and he was like doodly doodly doodly, and I'm like, okay, I'm happy. Let's do this. He's going to do both of the first two shows.
Okay, so he's the other one who's going to be doing that, and then you'll be ringing it up. The last show, just you've already revealed it. Carousel going to be the end of July. I mean, just the very, very, very end of July until August the 3rd.
Yeah.
So, and again, she couldn't be here tonight. Happy birthday, Diane!
Yes,
Diane
happy
Lala.
birthday.
And of course, Diane is going to be retiring from the conservatory in Cincinnati, where she's been for so long, and it's just hard to think about. And I just found out that she's going to be actually honored in Brooklyn in a show. Do you know about this at all, or no?
I saw that. I saw Bob, her husband, posted something about it on Facebook, and I did see that. Yes.
So I think it's like May the 5th or something like that. They're going to have have a show in her honor, and I guess given by a lot of the people who are former students and perhaps fellow teachers on faculty. Yeah.
Because I think I might have something trying to be delivered to her. Don't watch this time. But that have Broadway that are coming to honor her, and she's so excited. They're going to celebrate her teaching through dance, and it's going to be incredible.
Well, I'm again very happy for you with the season, etc. And again. Tickets have already been on sale for subscribers, correct? Do we still have any? Do we have any season subscriptions that are still available? Or
yes, there are. Absolutely.
Okay. So they would go online. Is that the?
Yes, and I'm blanking on the.
If you can
website.
give me the. They have a. That's all right. I think it's. The last I checked, it was tulane.edu is the ending. I know that, but it's usually something arts. But I think wouldn't the number be 504-865-5269? Wouldn't that be the right number?
Yes, that's the number. But now we're making it so much streamlined in order to go online. So I'm gonna see if I can, while we're talking, find that web address.
So in any event, I did want to let everybody know that we've got another show coming up at 8:30, but we're delighted to have Jauné Buisson and Leonard Raybon that has 3 C's, has an artistic director whose name begins with a C. C. Leonard Raybon. So there we go.
True. Actually, it's summerlyric.tulane.edu. Summerlyric, one word, .tulane.edu. Very easy.
Summerlyric.tulane.edu.
That's it.
And that should be it. So let's see if that'll work. Does that work?
That looks perfect. Yes.
Okay. So anybody needs to get tickets, that's where you go. That's for the season subscriptions. Now, you will have individual tickets available sometime after May or so, or when will those be available?
I think now.
Oh, they're available now.
I think that was probably the first to be available. It's this season tickets were delayed a bit, but now I think everything is available.
You can purchase show tickets now. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I wanted to go a little bit. This is how many years for Summer Lyric? Can we go?
This is the 58th season.
And the thing I think it started just a little bit before I arrived at Tulane, because if that's correct, so that would have been
68 was the first year. 68.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of people still confuse it. They think Summer Lyric Theater, it must be in the theater department, and that's not correct. And one of the things we always, have to harp on people is that this is from the music department, not the theater department. Even though it is theater, essentially it's music, and therefore part of the domain, if you will, of the music department. Leonard, who else is involved in the music department there, and how are those shows selected? Is it the faculty? Is it you by yourself? Is it with a group of people? How do you make those determinations?
Well, I'll have, oftentimes I'll ask directors, give me a short list of some things you would like to direct. And that's how I've done it with Diane for many, many years. Well, That's how we've done it. Michael Howard before me. And then there's that. And then I'll just get something in my mind that I might want to do. Charlie Farfays, who's just wonderful. He might have an idea of something he wants to do. Then we just talk it out. We get a proposal together. Then we have a conversation with the Dean of Liberal Arts, Brian Edwards. And then that's pretty much the process.
Okay, and again, it started in 1968. Frank Monachino was the head of the department at that point, or I assume, or was he?
I don't know. I don't remember that detail, but I know that
he retired though, and then yes. B. Michael Howard took over for many years.
That's right.
And he was a star like you were sometimes in the programs, and he also was the director and really, I guess, shepherded it for a number of years. He retired and, of course, unfortunately passed on. And again, I'm trying to remember now, who else do we have in there? One more.
You mean in between? That was Michael McKelvey.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, my. Well, hi there.
Hi
there. Michael, thank you for being here. I appreciate being here. Are you glad to be on board?
Yeah.
Michael, I asked Michael to come in as a surprise guest because I thought that'd be kind of fun. I mean, I you know what? If you can't have fun in the show like this, you're never going to be having fun in life at all. But Michael, of course, is now at Carnegie Mellon, doing his thing with the program there, and newly married. Congratulations!
Yes, congratulations.
I mean, a lot of change in his life.
A lot of change.
And again, he's still not doing Mac and Mabel, which was the first thing I told him I wanted to do. One of these days. But anyway, Michael, thank you for being here. And again, you were a part of that continuing legacy that started with Monachino, went to Howard, and now with you, and then on to now see Leonard Raybon. So you passed the baton, if you will.
Well, actually, I got the baton from Leonard.
I interrupt again. Yes,
so,
that's true.
He was the interim AD before I came in and everything, and he's doing a great job. And the fact that Jauné is directing the season couldn't make me any happier.
Yeah.
So no, and they picked a great season. Like, it's an outstanding season. So I'm just excited to see what happens.
Thank you.
So Michael, thank you again for being here. You said you were pleased with the season. You think there's a good choice, the 3 C's?
Oh, yeah. No, I think it really does have something for everyone. And when I was AD, that's what I wanted for our selections. And I mean, Carousel is one of my favorites. I know Diane just loves the show. And Chorus Line is everybody's favorite. And Jauné's going to knock that out of the park. And the fact that Leslie gets to come in and direct, and Company's just such a hot ticket right now around the country. In fact, we're doing it at Carnegie next year. And so no, it's one of Sondheim's best. So no, really solid season top to bottom.
Great.
Well, again, I know you're involved with your own productions in Austin during the summertime, right, in Texas, and you've got other things that are going to be on. So you're still a really busy beaver. Do you ever get a chance to get up to New York and see any shows or not?
Trying to. Thought I was getting up to see our showcase and check out some shows, but I don't think anything's going to happen until August because I'll be booked through June through mid-August right now.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping maybe you get a little window there of opportunity, but again,
maybe, but I like those weird off-Broadway shows more than anything. So that's why I'm glad to see Dead Outlaws getting some play on Broadway.
Yeah, well, I was telling Jauné before the show that Dead Outlaw is one of those that I wanted to see as well. And also another one that's a smaller show called Maybe Happy Ending that I've heard some wonderful things about.
Yeah, that's terrific. Darren Criss is getting all the pub right now, but no, I think I'm just excited for the New Orleans audience to really get a taste of this season. I really do think it's going to be so strong, and the casting choices that I've seen so far on social media are great, and so many local favorites and some newer faces and all that. No, it's just what the company needs.
Well, I do appreciate you being with us tonight. I don't know, did you bring your drink in or no? Did you bring anything to drink?
No drinking. I'm grading right now, which
Okay.
maybe I
Well,
should
we'll give you a pass. We'll give you a pass
So,
on this one.
yeah.
I didn't give Leonard a pass. He had to go out and get a drink, but
Yes.
that's okay. I appreciate your being here though tonight, and we've got Lila Palmer coming up in just a few minutes with the New Orleans Opera Association. But before we close out this segment, I just wanted to ask you, Michael, is there anything that you wanted to ask Leonard or Jauné? They're on the spot right now. Maybe you get a chance to say
No, I just I'm just so happy. And Leonard, you look fantastic, and Jauné,
thank
you're always gorgeous. So no, I just want to tell him break legs, toy this summer.
Thank you. It's great to see you too.
I really thought I was going to be able to make it to see something, but the Ware schedule's working in Austin. We're pretty locked in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, again, we can't thank you enough for being out there and taking time out from your busy work schedule. I know you're probably getting ready to do finals, and then you'll have to commit to getting on the road and doing your thing. So appreciate you being with us tonight, Michael. All right.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Take care. All right. In the meantime, Leonard, Jauné, we're going to be closing things out. So I want to let you know that I'm fully supportive of everything you all do at Summer Lyric Theater at Tulane, and I hope that every show's a big one. A lot of people who may have gone in the past may note that you've done some improvements to the theater. The seating's a little bit better in terms of sitting in. Those used to be very uncomfortable, unforgiving chairs, and I think you've done some things to kind of improve that. So if you haven't been back at Summer Lyric in a few years, you might be surprised at the conditions of the theater and the way it's being run. And again, they always have opportunities for people at intermission to get a little something, and it helps support the program as well. So they have various and sundry beverages, some adult, some not. And different things that sort you can have in the intermission, in the interim there, and so hopefully it'll be a fun time for people to go to bring the families, etc. And it's always been super notch. I mean, in terms of the talent, I mean, super talented people. And again, I'm talking about behind the stage, the directors, the choreographers, etc., as well as those on stage. I know through the years we've seen some people actually move on, like we mentioned, Carnegie Mellon. Obviously there's a lot of talent that goes off to New York, but there have been some people who've done very well, and they started off at Summer Lyric. So I appreciate you being with us tonight to talk about your season again. See, Leonard Raybon, thank you for being here.
Thanks for hosting me.
Same thing. We really love having both of you. And anybody needs to get tickets, go to summerlyric.tulane.edu. And if not, just use the number that I mentioned earlier, 504-865-5269, indelibly etched in my brain. And again, thank you so much for being here and talking about all of that. And again, as Michael said, break legs and have a great season. We'll look forward to my seeing the shows and doing the reviews as well for you. So.
Great.
Can't say enough. Okay. Thanks again. And we're gonna take a little time out now to sort of turn our banner around. So for those of you who are looking up in what would be your upper right, you might notice that it's got Summer Lyric up there, and I'm gonna actually go and change the banner to the New Orleans Opera. But the New Orleans Opera, you see that's sort of the old New Orleans Opera banner, and they have a new one that they're unveiling. So I want to make sure that we have that to show you first. That's the old one in the upper right hand corner. Here's the new New Orleans Opera Association, and to kind of make that a fait accompli, if you will, I'm going to take the banner that you got in the upper right, and I'm going to change it magically to the new banner. And with that, I'm going to bring in our very own Lila Palmer, the general artistic director of the New Orleans Opera. And if I remove that, I think I think I gotta make sure I get this right. I think I remove this logo here. Yes. I was trying to get it all done. You just have to get your banner back in. So it's time for us to start the show, Lila. And again, I appreciate you being here. I know there was a little mix-up last week. Don't worry about it. We are so delighted to have you. And again, we have 6 shows to talk about. But as I explained to Chris, who works with you doing a lot of the public relations, et cetera, Christopher Tidmore, the dates are not yet fixed that I have that they've given me. And it might be because maybe you're trying to still figure them out. But if you've got them in front of you, just tell me what they are as we go through the shows. I think you're going to be starting the shows with the I think it was
we're starting with the Verdi Requiem.
The Verdi Requiem. Yeah,
first of all, hi Alan, it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for squeezing me in after last week. It's so lovely to be here, and what a lovely reveal of our new branding. Thank you so much. That's really lovely. We're so proud.
Was that something when you came in, you said, I don't really like that, or did you say, we're new regime, we need to have a new logo? Was it something about that, or?
It was a bit of both. It was more like kind of reflecting the new direction. And this, I think the last redesign had been over a decade ago, so there's always a lot to think about, with a new GD and kind of a new direction. But yeah, we just wanted to kind of reflect that. I was excited to, we work very closely with the LPO. So our full branding colors have a bit of the Louisiana flag in it and are closer to the LPO's colors as well. So it was kind of about just communicating that, a little facelift, not like a crazy new direction, but just a little freshen.
So I'm trying to remember the LPO's logo was
navy.
Like that, right?
Well, yeah, it was, but now it's not like that. They have
now it's not like. So I have to get a new one for them too.
Yeah, exactly. I think yes. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, but that leads up. You've been here now. I think you've got a feel for the terrain. The history of opera here in New Orleans, starting back in the 1790s, and this is really the city of opera that was here first in the Americas, many North American premieres at the French Opera House, etc. So we've got a real major, history. And again, in New Orleans, unlike a lot of cities where, like in New York, people would go to the symphony, they would be seen at the Philharmonic. Here in New Orleans, they would be seen at the opera first before they would go to the symphony orchestra. The symphony orchestra really came about after, which is kind of the opposite way you would think it would happen, that there would be a way that it would go from symphonic to opera, but in this city, no. And
I think that reflects the European antecedents of the city, that the opera has always been, this kind of place to see and be seen, to take the pulse of the city. Even in its antecedents, people like to think that opera is only aristocratic, but in fact, where it started in Venice, this is a mercantile port. Literally, the creation of opera is the great cultural port of Italian Europe before it was even Italy, right? So it kind of makes complete sense that we were the kind of gateway of opera to North America. So I think that kind of what I've been trying to express in this first season is really the depth of the connection of opera to the city, and the way it was so, I know it sounds silly, it was so easy. It was so easy to pick a season that sort of was in dialogue with the history of the city, with the cultural identity of the city, without even reaching for the literal, if you know what I mean, because there's just so much there to play with. So it's been really fun.
And again, we always have the reveal on the drinks. I was telling everybody, this is the first time I've had a non-alcoholic drink, because it's actually Coca-Cola left over from Passover, the original Coca-Cola with the yellow top that is made with cane sugar. So you only get that right before Passover, because the corn syrup solids are not allowed during Passover. So we're drinking Coca-Cola tonight. Did you bring something fantastic in the room?
I'm doing both. I'm drinking. I'm staying hydrated, and I have a Côte de Rhône from Martins.
I love it. Whenever somebody brings in something, and again, we do that not to be frivolous and and capricious about doing it. We started the show during the pandemic. It was really
Right.
an opportunity for people to come together, and you know, we were not able to see shows or be entertained, so we had to kind of, you know, come up with some entertainment for ourselves, and why not have a drink if you can't do some of the other things. And again, you know, what the heck? I mean, it's not going to be a thing for me. I can assure you, I'll go back to alcohol later. But and I do love my cocktails. I do enjoy, you know, now not overboard, you know, but I do enjoy having one. And it to me, it was a kind of a way to show your artistic way around a bar as well, that you might bring something in. So if they were doing a show that was French, you might bring in a drink that has a French name like Vieux Carré or something like that. So before we get to that, I did want to say that we had 3 productions this year, and you in this next season, has just been announced, have doubled the number to 6 shows, 6 presentations. And again, not all, I mean, we mentioned, of course, you know, the Verdi Requiem, which is not really an opera traditionally, but considered a great piece, you know, of art and heralded by many people. So we're going to get into the gist of it. But one of the things that you did in the promotion of the 6 works that you're doing, and only I think 4 are really here, is at the intersection of Piety and Desire, and you use the street tiles that are so famous from New Orleans to make all of the different shows that you've got. Fire Shut Up in My Bones, which we're going to talk about, by Terence Blanchard, Dialogues of the Carmelites, De Rosenkavalier, and Pilgrimage. And then you've also got, you mentioned already, the
Verdi Requiem.
And we have one more, do we not?
And Messiah, yes.
Okay. And the Handel Messiah, is that going to be presented at the normal time, expected Christmas time?
Absolutely. Both the Verdi Requiem and are good, and they're both going to be in the Orpheum. They are full partnerships with the LPO. So yes, they will be a normal time of year. We collaborated, so I've done all the vocal casting for them this year, and some little artistic things that we're not sharing until we open them. But yes, it's been a really fun kind of just putting a little champagne pop in the mix for those pieces. And the Verdi Requiem, you know, is such a satisfying work. You know, it pops up at opera companies with increasing regularity, as well as symphonies. You know, the Met did it, I think, 2 years ago. You know, it's everywhere. So, and it's one of those, you know, kind of opportunities to really hear some of the qualities of Verdi that, you know, show up in the operas, but in that way that you can really focus on the vocal writing, focus on the kind of music making, and not the kind of overwhelming spectacle. I mean, honestly, any of the operas you could probably listen to in concert because they're so acutely realized, but the Requiem is amazing. So we're really excited to be presenting that and the kind of full forces of that.
Now, how many soloists are there in the Verdi Requiem? Are there 4? Okay.
Yeah. So you'll still get essentially the same number of principals that you would get in a mainstream Verdi piece. You know, there's kind of big, meaty soloist roles, and you know, and the full orchestra.
And are there any of the roles that have been announced so far from the Verdi Requiem? Because that's going to be the first one, right?
It is going to be the first one, but the LPO have not told me that I can say anything yet, so I'm not allowed to say it.
Contracts are still not signed. I understand that, but
yeah. But we do have a few people that have been confirmed for other things, which are not partnerships, so I might be able to divulge.
Okay, well, you know, it's whatever you can do. All I can tell you is I've never really been disappointed with you know, what's been happening as of late, and I
that
thought
makes me feel good.
The production that you did recently, you know, the cowboy, the Cajun, if you will, version of Elixir of Love was brilliant, and I mean the audience unfortunately was not in the numbers that it should have been, to my way of thinking, because it was a fantastic performance. Your tenor was great, and of course you know,
Lindsay was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, she was fantastic. So I can only tell you that and then after the show, the Amanda Shaw Fado Do that you had, what a wonderful, you know, stroke of luck there to have her and think about doing something like that, because it kept people on the grounds. The only thing, of course, the problem for me was I had such a good time, I ended up getting locked out of the parking lot and had to walk off and block my car. No. Yes,
I'm
I
so
did.
sorry. You know,
No,
that happened. That happened to me at Opera Holland Park. And I found myself literally scaling a wall of one of the royal parks. And I'm like,
Yeah.
am I going to be murdered by a beef eater? But no, I mean, you know, you've had a good time, right? Like if you're like
Yes.
leaving an opera party, climbing a wall. So which kind of is the vibe, you know, we're going for. I mean, I have to say it was not luck that we got Amanda, and we are so grateful that she performed with us. But, you know, that's kind of my feeling is, you know, in the end, you have to give people just a really fantastic night out. You know, and so that's kind of what I'm aiming for, even when we're doing more serious fare, that we think through the whole experience for people, you know, kind of roots to shoots for the whole evening. Because for me, you know, I'm just going to be honest with your listeners. I stumbled out of my son's room at 9 p.m. last week, completely exhausted because I have 2 toddlers. You know, and if people are paying a babysitter, they're paying for parking, you know, like all of these expenses that people have, then they want to have a great night and they want to, you know, kind of forget where they are and be totally swept away in it. So that's kind of what we're going for going forward. So hopefully people like you will hear that it is a good time and spread the word, because that kind of organic, you know, this is a city where people really listen to what the word is my feeling. And so I think the word is starting to be good. So that's really exciting. That feels good a year in.
And again, for those that don't know Amanda Shaw, she's just a fantastic talent. And next time you get a chance to hear her play, I really recommend you go out and check it out. Of course, aside from the Verdi Requiem, we mentioned that starts out the Handel Messiah. You're going to have a full season, and the first one that I saw, it hasn't been that long that it was actually premiered. What month are you going to be doing A Fire Shut Up in My Bones? When
Shut Up in My Bones is going to be at the end of February.
The end of February.
So that'll be
the
weekend after Mardi Gras.
Well, yeah, because Mardi Gras is a little bit earlier this year. I was going to say. So
yeah. So it's the following weekend.
But I understand that Terrence is going to be actually taking part in this, that he's going to be actually a soloist, correct? Is that correct?
He is going to be a soloist. I'm so excited. So Terrence and Adrian and Justin Austin, who we just confirmed has been released, to come and sing it. Justin Austin, who won the International Opera Award for Emerging Artists this year. I mean, he's definitely not emerging. He's singing everywhere. But it's just having Terrence himself playing, which is obviously such an honor.
Can you tell me a little bit about this? So for anybody who doesn't know what it's about, because it's a relatively new piece that he did, and he's just gotten into doing the operas. I know he did one not long ago with the New Orleans Opera. I think Champion or
yeah.
So
absolutely.
So can you tell me about what I know? Champion was a little bit controversial in terms of the language. Does this have some of the language, if you will, of the street, or not?
I don't know if I would characterize it that way. You know, it's based on the novel by a Louisiana novelist as well. And in fact, we're hoping to have him come and speak. Of course, his last name's escaping me right now. His first name is Charles. Forgive me because I'm a librettist, so that's really embarrassing that I can't remember the novelist's last name. But anyway, so that's a real Louisiana story, you know, and it's an autobiography. And I would say, you know, it's kind of a journey back towards the light is, I think, how I would term it. But there's definitely, you know, it's opera, so there's some suffering along the way. But, you know, the piece, when it was done for the Met and it was revived last year, you know, it's a giant piece. It's like 3.5 hours long. It has, you know, 30 dancers and, you know, a giant orchestra and all of that stuff. But Terrence isn't in the big full work. You know, he's obviously been like, and now I have made the thing and I'm going to sit and watch it. Great. And probably if he's anything like any other opera creator with sweaty palms. But yeah, so this for me was a really exciting opportunity to have, you know, to obviously have Terrence play, to kind of have that personal local connection. But the piece, you know, this version of it is chamber. It's much shorter. It's just under an hour. But you have essentially the kind of the highlights really of the vocal highlights of the opera, plus the kind of live band in a kind of chamber version, so that they're all kind of in the groove and responding live rather than an orchestra, obviously, where it's all planned out. But you have these two incredible soloists who are kind of singing all of the major vocal moments of the opera. So it's kind of the highlights reel without any of the intermediary stuff, which I think
the only reason I mentioned the language, I know at one point it was controversial enough that the Metropolitan broadcast was not going to be broadcast, they said, and then finally they did broadcast it, so I got to hear it, and I thought it was a wonderful work, but it did have some words that are not in polite conversation said, but it was in the spirit of the storyline, and again, I would imagine a lot of magic. Okay, you couldn't remember the name, and all of a sudden we know the name of the artist, the author who wrote.
I thought it was that, but there's an English composer with that last name, and I was like, I'm gonna get it wrong. So I didn't, Dennis. Thank you, Charles.
That's no problem.
Thank you for that. Yes. So to answer your question, I have not got a word-for-word review of the libretto in my head. I will say this, though. I think, part of my approach as an artistic director, you say, well, there have been a lot of things that obviously I've inherited that I've been told were controversial.
Right.
I think oftentimes when things are controversial, maybe the thing that is expressed is as the thing that is a problem is the thing that people feel comfortable articulating or saying, but oftentimes it's something else that is bothering them. And I think for me, people always forget, when you look at a Shakespeare play, a lot of that Elizabethan English is really fruity. Like, if you actually know what all it means, you're like, that's foul,
Right. Oh, yeah. The Shakespearean puns, as they like to say, yes.
Oh yeah, that's the same actually in a lot of original opera libretti. Once you actually do the direct word-for-word translation, you're like, oh! So I think it's also partly that people are getting used to, contemporary opera and it, being the way people speak, but I also think that for me was the reason to do something shorter, so that if you're like, well, I like Puccini and I like contemporary theatre, but I don't know if I like the two of those things together, 45 minutes or 50 minutes is a good try.
Understood.
You don't have to be super committed for 3 hours. So that, but obviously,
where's Fire Shut Up in My Bones going to be? Where's it going to be?
That's going to be at the Civic, which we're really excited about. Again, new spaces. I'm just trying it all out this year. I'm like,
that's all right. Yeah, no, that's good. And the Civic, do they have parking nearby? I'm just asking.
They do. They have parking directly opposite, which is one of the reasons that I was like, yes, let's do it. Let's go. Okay. It's proper formal parking with, it's well lit and all of those good things. They also have a bar on every floor.
Important.
It's very important.
Yeah. And again, as a librettist, somebody, who's been around the written word, I think all the things that you say, are very valid. And, you speak from experience. So, it's something that people should take to heart that yes, you're the general artistic director, but you started off as a librettist and still working as a librettist, correct?
Yes, I am.
We can squeeze it in between.
We'll squeeze it in. Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
and the kids. And the kids too.
Yeah, I mean, sleep. What sleep? But it's actually really important. For me, it's really important that this company have an artistic director who's still actively connected artistically to the cutting edge of the industry. Because obviously I trained as a singer, so I love the traditional repertoire. I love the lyric voice. I love all that. And simultaneously, I love the new stories and those things are in dialogue. And I think that's really important for New Orleans and for this particular company at this moment in time. So I feel like it's part of my job to keep doing that, to stay connected that way. So I keep bringing in new talent, right? That's the way I can do that.
Understood. So to continue after Fire Shut Up in My Bones, Dialogues of the Carmelites. Is that correct? Is that the next one on the season?
Well, so then we move into after basically the first three, so Verdi Requiem, Messiah, Fire. Then we're into this bonanza, like week-long festival.
My fault. Don't worry about it. I think we froze up for a bit. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay. You said you're in a week long, and then it froze a little bit. So go ahead. Oh, and you're muted. You need to unmute yourself for some reason. I don't know why you are muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. Let's see. There you go. Nope. Yeah, for some reason you just lost your microphone. Anyway. So yeah. I tell you what, I'm going to kick you out and you come right back in. Sometimes that happens. So it might have been when we lost the internet there for a second. And just come right back into the show. I'm gonna remove you and just use that click. Hopefully she'll be able to come right back. I'm gonna kick her from the studio and she'll come right back. In the meantime, we're talking about the New Orleans Opera, their 2025-26 season, and we have with us Lila Palmer, who is the General Artistic Director for the New Orleans Opera Association. We've already gone over several of the items that they're going to have, for this next season at the intersection of Piety and Desire. We already mentioned the Verdi Requiem, the Handel Messiah, both in partnership with the LPO at the Orpheum. Fire Shut Up in My Bones will be presented at the Civic Theater. And we're going to actually wait for Lila to come back in. Hopefully, the internet will be working a little bit better for her, and we can get her microphone restored. And we'll talk about Dialogues of the Carmelites, the Rosen Cavalier, and Pilgrimage. And for those of you who are interested in acquiring tickets for the New Orleans Opera, I'll tell you, you should be able to just go to their website. And again, for those of you who are looking to go there, I'll give you that information as well. It's neworleansopera.org. And again, waiting for Lila to come back. I think it'll just be a matter of another minute or so. So hopefully we can get her in there. But neworleansopera.org is the way to get to the website, get your tickets. And I know that she's trying to come in. I can see her right there. So one more time, neworleansopera.org. A little problem apparently with her internet because it says devices not connected. Well, it's rare when something like that happens. We have had the experience though, and I'm going to keep it open. Lila, it's still not connecting for some reason. If you can hear me, maybe I can get you in without your image. I might be able to get you in without. Well, she's trying to come back in, I think. So we're going to try one more time. So again, those of you who are out there, I appreciate your patience. We're going to get to the last part of the season, but get your tickets to neworleansopera.org. And again, those of you who have been patiently waiting, will hopefully not be much longer and trying to get Lila there. Let's see if she's here now. Yay, back in there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Woo!
You froze, and I kind of spun around a little bit, but yeah, we're back. We were just talking about killing time. I don't think I could have killed much more time than I had. We talked about the whole season. Let's go back and continue. Is the next piece, as I mentioned, Dialogues of the Carmelites? Is that the next piece of the opera? So
yeah, and Dialogues of the Carmelites opens the festival season. We're super excited about it. There has never been a professional premiere in New Orleans before. So it is the New Orleans premiere of Dialogues. We're doing it in French.
And two of the special people you're going to have with it?
We're super excited. So Phyllis and Emily Trigel will be singing together in the work, which we're really thrilled about because it's also the centenary of Phyllis's father, Norman Trigel, this year. And the other work that is on the season, Pilgrimage, was originally recorded by him with the New Orleans Symphony as was. So this is kind of a bit of a Trigel love fest this year. But yes, Emily and Phyllis have never been on stage together before. Emily's also making her Met debut this year, so that's really exciting.
And she won the Met competition a couple of years back, right?
She did.
Maybe
so this
3
is
or more years.
Yes, exactly. So this is a really great opportunity to bring her back, and her career is really taking off. So we're really excited to have her. She'll be singing Mère Marie, and Phyllis will be singing The Old Prioress. But, you know, the other thing that's wildly exciting about this version is that we're doing it in the oldest building in Louisiana. We're doing it in the Ursuline Convent. And it will be immersive. So the first part of the show will be inside what's known as St. Mary's Italian, which is obviously the chapel in the Ursuline precinct. But then the second half will be outdoors. So you will follow the sisters on their journey from the cloister into the outside world.
And we know what happens eventually, those of you who are familiar with the opera. But I will say this, it's not only the oldest in Louisiana, it's the oldest in the middle.
It's such a privilege to be able to work with the Ursuline Convent Museum.
I have to tell you, I'm one of the few people that's actually been up in the attic because
I got to go in the attic last week.
Did you?
Amazing.
Okay, yes.
They let me
it's
go
super spooky, and you know things creak, et cetera, you know, and you don't know whether or not you can go through. Sometimes you say, is it safe? But yeah, it's fantastic to be in there, and I'm delighted you have that experience. I was running networking Ethernet cable and stuff and trying to see where stuff was going. And that was not for the purposes I'm sure that you were doing. What were you doing up in the attic? Please inform me.
Well, they wanted us to, they wanted to give us kind of a little tour of the spaces because they wanted to see really, you know, what the whole precinct was like, you know. So it was really quite thrilling. They've cleared it out a lot as well, just recently. So you can really see, you know, the kind of the construction of the walls, you know, that would have been plastered over, you know. So there's all this kind of incredible, I don't know what you call it, not archaeology, but you know what I mean, this sort of social history in the bones of the building that you're looking at in the walls. It's amazing. So
and if anybody's not familiar with it, it's a historical piece, I think, you know, based in truth, but I guess they take a few artistic liberties, but the way
actually they don't. What's interesting is so the libretto is actually based on a film script, which was an adaptation of one of the surviving, I think, the only surviving sisters' memoir. Then the film, and that's why the piece feels, I don't know, it feels really contemporary because it's based on a screenplay. But then there are historical accounts. So the very short version is the Sisters of Campaign were ordered they were Carmelite sisters. They were ordered to leave the convent and sort of defrock, as it were, go out into the world. They refused. They stayed together. They continued to celebrate Mass. They were discovered, and they were all sent to and they made a decision to go to the guillotine together.
Yes.
They are credited with sort of turning the tide against the terror. Because at the time, obviously, these executions had almost become like a public sport, the way they were in ancient Rome. And the sight of these women going to the scaffold singing, or going to the guillotine singing the Agnus Dei, actually was one of the things that is sort of credited with changing French public opinion. So the final scene is, I think, one of the most powerful in all of opera, and it is based in fact. That's
well. When I say artistic liberties, they took the going to the guillotine together to the point where the music and the voices go hand in hand with the guillotine doing its
thing.
And essentially you get down to 2 or 3 voices, and then all of a sudden there's one voice, and then the end. Literally. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
it's very
powerful. And I did actually see a more modern setting So you're doing it in the chapel, but I did see a more modern setting one time, which is really effective, where it was a long cross that they had.
Yes.
That
The Met
was
production.
wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
that's a great version.
Yeah.
We're super excited about it.
I am so happy, and again, we just go a little bit longer, just to since we missed a couple of minutes there, we've been right on time. But I did want to tell you thank you for being with us. We got your whole the whole season done. We know that we can go to NewOrleansOpera.org to see that. And again, for those of you who to get tickets, etc. But for those of you who are just joining us, didn't see it earlier, one more time, we've got the Verdi Requiem first. We've got Handel's Messiah second, both in conjunction with the LPO at the Orpheum, not at the regular places you'd expect to see the opera at the Mary Jackson. Then you've got Fire Shut Up in My Bones at the Civic Orchestra, and then Carmelites. We didn't talk too much about DeRose and Cavalier, though. We should have mentioned that.
So
Dialogue,
I do want to briefly touch on that.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Dialogues of the Carmelites we just touched on. Pilgrimage is the Norman Traeger piece that we were talking about that he had done with the New Orleans Symphony Orchestra. So tell me about DeRose and Cavalier before we have to say goodnight. So
yes, I will very briefly. DeRose and Cavalier has not been done in the city since 1975. Because it's this giant, lush Strauss piece with this huge orchestra and all these singers and chorus and a children's chorus. And it's just this kind of incredible romantic fantasy of fin de siècle Vienna that kind of never was. But, the whole piece is just it's really a great romantic comedy. And when I say it's a romantic comedy, I mean the way Figaro is a romantic comedy, which is to say it is incredibly lush and romantic and at moments funny, but also, like all good comedy, it has a little twist in it. It starts with a love triangle. It ends with happy lovers. But it's really about the presentation of a young woman and kind of her coming into herself. So it really speaks to, I would say, this kind of in some ways, the debutante culture here, this idea of the presentation and evolution of a young woman. But the story really begins with this older woman, the Marshallin, who has a younger lover who is kind of trying to come to terms with the idea that although she loves him very much, that a sort of a love between different generations is not necessarily one that will last forever. So it's incredibly lush, romantic. Renee Fleming made the Marshallin kind of her signature role. We have an incredible Marshallin, and I have just confirmed that we will have the incredible Melly Still directing, who I always get this wrong. Is it 4 Tony nominations or 6 Oliviers or 6 Tonys and 4 Oliviers? But anyway, she is an incredible Broadway, West End, and opera director. She also directs at the Met in Santa Fe. She is coming to direct Rose and Cavalier, so that is tremendously exciting. She's just a first-grade director that will just make all of the action really kind of bounce off the page, just be so nuanced and gorgeous. So for me, both of these pieces are really about the marriage of this incredibly acute lyrical writing with this beautiful orchestration, but the theater of it is you almost forget they're singing. You don't, because you're incredibly seduced, but it's theater. That's what the season is about.
And as you appropriately mentioned, the Marshallin was done very famously in more recent times by Renee Fleming, who, of course, has taken some theater roles in recent times, one of them being in Carousel. And
yes.
Look who's there.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, and that it requires just an incredible singing actress.
Yes.
That's what the piece requires. In fact, 3 really incredible singing actors, 4, I should say. So we're delighted to have Melly. It's such a coup. So it's her first time in New Orleans. David Neely will be conducting, who's the music director at Des Moines, very experienced in the German repertoire. So we're tremendously excited to have him. And then Pilgrimage actually is going to be very amazing. It's going to be in a warehouse space, and the audience are actually going to be on Pilgrimage as they are experiencing the work. So this is the Carlisle Floyd piece. It's also the centenary of Carlisle Floyd this year. So everything is really about it being alive, about it being theater.
All right. Well, I can't wait for it. It's going to be a fantastic season. And again, I'm waiting, seeing one way or another how we get to that season when we get to do Ghost of Versailles. And so
I'm tilting at it. You can see me tilting at it. I'm setting up. I will say, if your listeners particularly want to see Dialogues of the Carmelites, which I think they will, they should probably subscribe and not wait for a festival ticket, because we're almost already sold out on one of the performances already. And because the capacity is so small in St. Mary's, I think not everybody is going to get in. I don't know that we'll even put single tickets on sale. So for Dialogue. So if they want to see that, they should definitely subscribe.
Okay, so season subscribers are going to be seeing. That's going to be a shame if I'm not going to be able to get in, but we'll see.
You are. We absolutely will get you in, but yes, I think it's going to be an in-demand. It's going to be an in-demand ticket, because we have fewer than 1,000 seats total, unless we're forced to add a show. Obviously, Rose and Cavalier is still at the Mahalia, so we'll have capacity there.
All right. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for being here, and I know everybody's looking forward to seeing what you're doing with the next season 2 to come. So keep coming. I know you're not going to have 12 shows next year, double again.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. But again, I expect that at least for the number you've got now, 6 is a good one to shoot for. And you know what? Between you and me, I think if you got 4 good ones, nobody's going to be upset either. So, all right.
Absolutely. Well, we'll aim for a full slate of good ones.
All right, stick around. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. We went a little bit over. And again, I'm going to say goodnight to Lila personally, but I want to thank her for being here. And earlier in the show, of course, we had all the gang from Tulane Summer Lyric. Again, I hope you appreciate our show. We broadcast on the various NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group and the theatercriticism.com Facebook page and my own YouTube channel. And again, this will be available on different feeds. You'll see it archived and on different places, so you can share it and see it afterwards. Again, I thank you for being here tonight. And until that next time, this is Alan Smason wishing you and yours a very good night. And I'll see you at the theater.